It's the Sleepers podcast return from 4th of July weekend, Tuesday, July 8th. More importantly, Cart, it is round 2 of Sleepers Got Talent. We are down to 11 competitors, and it's the finalists we introduced to you by showing their auditions last week. We have asked them to all make a graphic for us, and based on the results of the graphic design challenge, today we will make the first round of cuts in the Sleepers Got Talent competition. You and I will judge each of their submissions, provide some feedback, and then ultimately deliberate and advance a select few of our 11 participants into round 3 of this competition. But also, since this is our first day just having a podcast in a while, we had no podcast episode come out on Monday. I do feel like maybe we should banter for just a moment at the top of the show. So, how was your holiday weekend? How are you, my friend?
Listen, I think I got everything out of the holiday weekend that I needed to get. Got a nice little tan. I was on a pontoon. The cooler was full at all times. The food was great. The grill did what it had to do. Beautiful sunset, fireworks. Really got all I needed, I feel like, out of a classic Michigan summer, July 4th weekend. And I very much enjoyed myself. How about you, my friend?
I had a great weekend. Busy weekend, but good weekend. Wife is back to work. Shout out to Mal. Maternity leave is over. So, yeah, we've got kind of just going through a new chapter right now where we're both back to work, have kid coverage during the week. So we'll see how that goes. My parents are watching both kids for the first weekday today. So I keep checking my phone, like trying to make sure that Banks hasn't beaten one of them up yet.
I was just gonna say you referred to your first and only son as the Draymond Green of babies this past weekend. Do parents know that? Like, do they know what they're up against going head to head with my dog Banks?
I think they're roughly aware, but I keep telling my parents this, and my mom like laughs off. It's like, no, he's Smiley. I'm like, just wait. Just wait. Like you've
That's
been
how he
watching
gets
him
you.
for 5 minutes, not for 40 minutes. You get 40 minutes with B, he'll show you. So yeah, I'm excited to see how today goes. I'm also excited to see how Sleepers Got Talent goes, and that's really why we are here, my friend. Before we start to talk some of these contestants and their submissions, should we acknowledge two major parts of this competition? Maybe three. Number one, our actual producer, JK, is the reason we don't have an episode out on Monday.
Hmm.
JK was instructed that the episode we recorded before the holiday weekend should be saved for Monday so that everyone has a new, fresh episode in their inbox. And instead, JK just posted it Friday.
Hmm.
So not only did that was a little counterintuitive to the direction we gave him, but it also got us less views for the episode because no one watched the Friday episode. Everyone was on vacation. And then now we have people tweeting at us asking where the Monday episode is.
Hmm.
So your thoughts on JK's decision to just blatantly not follow direction on that as our lead producer?
So one, good on JK, because he knows he's fine.
Yep.
Two, I would like all contestants of the show to heed this warning. You could go a long way by just listening to Greg and I. That goes a massive way in this competition. The graphics are great, the video's incredible. We want to see everything that you have to offer for this show. But the one little difference maker could be the following of directions and or listening to Greg and I and what we tell you. And look, I don't want to make it this way because we are a show that's going to be fair at all points. But there's going to come a point where when we tell you to jump, the answer is how high. All right? Like there's going to be a bit of that. And we just want you to follow simple instructions. That's it. It's almost like we're not asking you to recreate the Mona Lisa. Just do as you're told.
One of my favorite dynamics is you and JK, where I sort of just get buddy buddy with JK. I'm good cop, but then you'll come in and be like, Jacob, do your job. You're here to do your job. You're the bad cop. But the problem is, I don't think Jacob listens to you, and I don't think you enforce what you verbally tell him often. So
Yeah. He doesn't listen to me. He
yeah.
does not.
But the good news is, if you look good in like 4-inch seams shorts, we'll overlook all of this. And Jacob put on a clinic on a holiday weekend this
He
weekend.
did. That's fine. It's fine until I shoot him in the quad. And then like what's that gonna do? And I don't even own a gun. But I'm about like 2 months away and JK disrespecting me. I'm just gonna shoot him in his non-dominant quad.
JK, I love you. Just wanted to give you a little jokes to start this week off, JK. We're back though. We're back, my friend.
Go back.
All right. So that was thing number one. Thing number two, our current social media guy, Jay Hart, on vacation officially. He did send us his submission for the graphic challenge. He did send us a few other things just in case in the event that he advances. I am telling you right now, point blank. Jay Hart has not advanced yet. We don't know. But he has basically played out the competition as if he does advance. So we'll see if we get to use that work or not. He also, before he left for vacation, he asked us to record, I think, 9 different social videos. And then before leaving for vacation, he sent me 5 finished edited videos, leading me to simply ask the question, where are the other 4 that we recorded before you go on vacation? And also, does Jay Hart know that you can schedule social posts in advance? It doesn't appear he knows that because he's asked me to post all of them for him. The good news for me is current socials guy Jay Hart will not listen to this because he's told me he is in a place where he can't even get internet. The bad news for Jay Hart is you and I are still mad that our current socials guy is in a place where he can't even receive texts for 7 days in the middle of a talent competition where he is fighting to keep his job and or get a promotion.
And two things to add on top of all those things that make a lot of sense. Two, a visit to Wyoming. Is that where Jay Hart is?
I believe he said Wyoming, correct?
Okay. That that says something to me. That it says something to me. Just want to throw it out there. Also, uh, once again, we love people to align with us and listen to us. Greg and I spent like an extra hour and a half recording after we recorded. Like we went out, like I'm saying, like we put our children down and had a small window to record again to make sure we got these social things in before our social guy decided to go to fucking Wyoming. Ugh. What is going on? Everyone lock in. I want to see some heart. Who wants to win?
I love our team, man. I love our team. And this leads us to point number 3, the last thing we have to announce before we get to our actual submissions here. So at the end of last week, we introduced 11 finalists that we basically accepted the auditions of. We introduced you all 11 participants and gave all 11 the direction that they had 1 week to create a graphic. That was the direction. 9 of the 11 followed direction and advanced through the competition to give us a submission to be judged today. 2 did not, and 2 did not for very different reasons. There's different classifications, but Car, let's just explain the 2 that are no longer going to be moving forward through the competition. So we begin with the one and only D Terp, and I plan on posting pictures of everybody so you remember, you put a face to a name as we go through these submissions, just for the sake of time and ease on my end here. Not going to show you the faces of the 2 who have bowed out of the competition, but number 1, D Terp has asked to be eliminated from the competition. He sent us a text last Tuesday that, to summarize, basically said a slight conflict has been brought to my attention regarding the intern position. A few months ago, a different creator offered me an intern opportunity starting in the fall. When you guys posted the opening with excitement, I applied immediately. But to save the hassle later on, I'm thinking it might just be a good idea for me to just stick to that for right now. Possibly juggling both at once presents some concerns. So that was a text to you and I. You and I both immediately responded, said, all good, my guy, no worries. We will follow your wishes here. But can we just get your general sentiment on D-Terp removing himself from the competition due to another internship that he is proceeding with?
Look, I appreciate him kind of getting out now. Do I have questions about the initial like starting? Like you started it. Like maybe you knew about that stuff before, but it's all good. All love for D Terp. And I one thing I will say is I'm sad because I was interested to see how D Terp kind of advanced in this competition. Also, he bowed out before what I think is his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like this was supposed to be like where he's supposed to like show his dominance, and he he bowed out.
Yeah, so I have zero negative response to D-Terp at all here. I know what he's leaving to do, and we'll keep that private for D-Terp. But
Mhm.
it's an awesome opportunity, and do not blame him at all for going all the way in on that. Honestly, I think he bowed out, Cart, not because like he should have made that decision before the competition. I thought maybe he thought he could do both, but I think he heard us explain that we're very serious about whoever we're bringing on here, and like we want serious levels of work. And our first experience with Dieter was just like, yeah, he's kind of pulled in a lot of different directions. We didn't feel like he was the most reliable. So I think like he heard the feedback and was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to be more reliable. So let me bow out. So it's all love to Dieter, who is phenomenal. You nailed this, though. Everyone else in this competition should be breathing a breath of fresh air, knowing that Dieter, the best graphic designer in this competition, did not submit a graphic design submission because you'll see some of these submissions. Some are pretty good, some are horrible today, and none are D-Terp quality. Like straight up, D-Terp would have lapped everybody, done circles around them. There's a reason that guy is about to advance to another opportunity here. So, huge missed opportunity. Not for D-Terp because it doesn't matter. He didn't need this competition, but huge missed opportunity, content wise, entertainment wise, for me to hold everybody else up to the D-Terp standard of like you can't touch D-Terp when it comes to
Yeah.
graphics.
And one last inkling here, because I love D-Turp. I'll probably tell D-Turp this offline. I think D-Turp could have showed some killer instinct right here. I thought he could have put a graphic out, shook a little ass on his way out, let us know what we're missing, and also inherently make everyone else look like ass by
Yeah.
him showing what he can do.
Two ways he could have done that. He could have put one graphic out that's just like a Tipton style announcement that says leaving and it's
Yes.
D Terp leaving the competition, but it looks awesome. That
Yeah.
would have been killer.
Hmm.
And then option number two, I was actually thinking about texting D Terp to ask him this. I was going to ask him if he could make a graphic ranking the other contestants in this competition.
That would have been that.
Like the nine remaining contestants in Sleepers Got Talent ranked by how likely they are to win the show, and it's just Dieter does an awesome design of it. It would have been incredible.
It
So,
would have been special.
Dieter, we love you. Thank you for being honest about your status in this competition, and you will be missed along the way. All right, now we're down to 10 as Dieter has left the competition. And before we get to our other nine, you will note that nine is not 10. There is one other participant at this stage in the competition that just flatly did not submit a graphic for this round. The directions that were sent, I will read them just to make sure that we have this right. But the directions sent to all of our participants were as follows. 10 contestants will be tasked with making a one-page graphic that could be shared to Twitter, Instagram, based on any previous sleeper segment of their choice. Due date Sunday, July 6th. Cart, we received about 7 submissions organically by Sunday. And then Sunday morning, I reached out to everybody who had not yet sent us a submission saying, hey, just a reminder, 24 hours to get your graphic in. Let us know if you need anything. Everybody else got it in. Our one participant who did not respond and never sent a graphic is unfortunately Jackson Hill, aka Jay Hill. If you remember Jay Hill from his audition cart, I believe he was in the Nebraska shirt. So, Jay Hill, you have now left the competition. No more Jay Hill, no more D Terp. We are down to 9. Any thoughts, any reaction to Jay Hill leaving the competition?
So Jay Hill, I want to say he was one of our younger contestants. I think there's a little bit of youth showing. Hopefully, a lesson learned that deadlines matter and instructions need to be followed. And hate to see you go out this way, but unfortunately, rules are rules. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors. Hopefully, Duke's good for you this year.
Did you have a good sense of how far you thought Jay Hill would go in the competition? Like, are you heartbroken that we're losing Jay Hill at this point in the competition, or no?
Um, No, I don't think so. Just because I don't think I can predict what he would actually do or what the outcome would look like. So, I think it sucks, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over this one, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's about where I'm at too. Would have loved to see him proceed, but here we are. So Jay Hill, should we sing like "See You Again"? Should we sing the Wiz Khalifa song when we eliminate people? How should we like kind of, you know? sing people off the show.
See ya.
All right, that's all we get. That leaves us with nine. We have nine contestants remaining in the show. Just a reminder to name them quickly before we go. These are our nine remaining contestants. We have Booby, Eli, J Hart, J Money, Luca, Michael, Tristan, Venet, and Zack. Those are our final nine. We will now go one by one through each of these nine's submissions for our graphic design challenge. We will unveil them in the order that they sent these designs into us, and we will review the graphics live on camera. We will then, I guess, basically tell them what we thought of them. And at the end of this, we will deliberate and trim this number down from nine. I will say quickly, Cart, one final note before we get started. We said originally that we were going to try and go from 11 down to 8 in the graphic design challenge. We will make this decision as we go, but given the unfortunate circumstances of losing D Turp and Jay Hill before now, in my head, Cart, I think we could eliminate more than one person today. We don't have to. We could just eliminate one. But in my head, honestly, maybe a lesson learned from the way D-Turp handled this. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I only want to advance people through this competition that we think are serious contenders. And in my head, also, I don't think it's the nicest thing to do to only eliminate one person based on the designs that were submitted. So I'm kind of approaching today, Cart. I'd like to go from 9 to 7 today. And if we end up feeling that everyone deserves it, we can only eliminate one. We could even eliminate 0 today. But that's how I'm approaching the rest of the morning here. Do you feel good about that, or how do you feel about this? It appears Cart has frozen. This is very on brand for this competition. All right, without further ado, folks, we will proceed. Beginning with our first submission that we received, which was none other than the fan favorite of this competition, Eli. Carter is back, by the way. This is a great indication of what it means to be a sleeper. Carter just lost power in the middle of this, which is very on brand for us, but we're not skipping a beat. We're back with no power in the dark to judge this competition. This is the type of perseverance we're looking from a candidate, looking for from a candidate. Carter, are you okay? How are you in the household right now?
I mean, not good. I don't have power. Not sure if anyone real power slaps. I think that's the main thing. I'm like it's massive for light purposes, for Wi-Fi purposes, for a lot of purposes. For recording this episode purposes. I missed my power. DTE, if you can hear me, you got to see me because this is unacceptable.
All right. Well, we apologize for technical difficulties. Cart's in the dark. His mic's going to sound off, but he will judge this competition. Apologies to our final nine participants for getting a more ornery version of Carter now than you would have gotten roughly 5 minutes ago, but this should be great for entertainment purposes of this competition. Let's get into it. I said we'd unveil these in the order they were submitted to us. Our first submission comes from Eli, who I think has been dubbed the fan favorite of this competition at this point. He was the shortest odds from our YouTube commenters who were putting odds on the winner of the competition. Safe to say, Eli has impressed till this point. Here's his graphic. He made us a winners and losers graphic based on NBA draft round 1. This was a segment which featured Riley and Dion, not either one of us. And then 2 winners and 2 losers, as you can see in front of you on the screen. General thoughts on this submission from Eli Kart.
So I call it the power beat out, but I'm gonna get a little nitpicky here. I would not have gone with a Riley Dion portion for this graphic, to be honest with you. I would have mainly kept it something else for as far as like kind of going through people. Also, I see what he's trying to do, but the W and the L for the winner losers placement feels off to me. It feels like someone took this graphic and then by themselves put a win or loss next to it. But I will say this, like I see some qualities of this graphic that are nice though. Like I like the Kasparis and the Heat jersey and the the actual font and the format as far as that goes. But not the biggest fan of the W and the L and like the green winners and the red losers up top. It's a little bit hard to read.
Yep. So I was curious what roles we would take on as judges once we get into the skill-based competitions here at this point, Cart. But I guess I'll just preface this with this. I'm going to be brutally honest with any submission going forward in the competition, and I will also advocate at the beginning of this. I don't expect awesomeness from anyone on anything going forward in this competition. Many of our contestants are college students or just trying to get into the industry. I don't expect college students to be graphic designers and be incredible. It's more about just, do you have a good eye for things? What's your attention to detail look like? And back to what we said at the top of the competition, what is your creative gene like? How creative can you be? What can you come up with? Are your ideas good? Because we didn't give much guidance. We just said make a graphic. Find something you think would be good in graphic form and make a graphic. So with all of that said, there's a couple different buckets I'm going to have as we go through just the graphic design portions of this. Fantastic, like you are a graphic designer. Okay, but I think that you would be able to like take a template that we give you and make good stuff. Okay, and I don't trust you, and awful. Those would be my 4 buckets. I'm going to put Eli in okay, and we could give him a template and he would work with it well. I think he had a vision for this. He tried to put something good together that looks solid. I don't mind the idea he went with for winners and losers. I agree. I think it's a strange move to pick something that doesn't include you or I with how much content is on our channel for a competition like this. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like if this had been you and I, it wouldn't change the way the graphic looks at all. So I'm fine with it. I don't see any spelling errors. I don't see any like major design no-nos for me here. Just a couple like inconsistencies, I would say. Like, I don't know, middle alignment for the text in the middle is a little bit strange. W's on the left, L's on the right, but they alternate is a little strange. Probably going to put the W's together up top, the L's together on the bottom, or just left aligned all of it. If we really want to get granular, you can zoom in here. And I don't even know if it's going to look good on, let's see, on the zoom. But if you zoom in, you see things like Kasparis here is overlapping the white and not layered properly, so he's not behind the white there. Just very nitpicky things that do matter when you're trying to make things that look good. Ultimately, would I be comfortable with this graphic coming out from a Sleepers Media account? No, I would not. But I think Eli has at least shown us he could work in design if we give him the tools. Overall, with Eli, though, where are you at with him in this competition? Like, a lot of people had him as the favorite. We loved his audition. Is this a minor step backwards for you? He was the first to submit this. And Card, he also actually, with this, I'll pull it up right now, he added a YouTube video on how he made My Sleepers Got Talent graphic. So he is making content out of the content that we're asking him to make. He's the only person doing this. So what are your general thoughts on this element of it and his whole approach here?
Well, I did love the making content out of his content approach to this, but I will say this, maybe it's because I was fairly impressed with his intro video that I maybe had higher hopes for the graphic. So I think it did come up a little bit short for me, even though I can't point to any major errors.
Yeah. Just again, design's one of those things. Either you got it or you don't. I don't know that I would say Eli has it. Certainly not to the level of like a D-Terp, but D-Terp's not in the competition. So Eli, thank you for the submission. We appreciate it. And one thing that is absolutely untakeawayable from Eli, Cart, I think he's outworking everybody. He's making more content than everybody else in the competition. He's the first to reply. He got this done in 24 hours while everybody else mostly took the whole rest of the week. So I don't know if we're going to honor that. I don't know if it's going to factor into our ultimate votes of who we want to be our intern. But it was an impressive way of submitting this nonetheless. Thank you for the submission, Eli. Let's move on to contestant number 2. All right, next up is Venet. This was the second graphic that we received. And much like his audition tape, Venet submitted multiple assets here. He gave us both his video and a resume the first time around. For the graphic design portion, he gave us this graphic you see here, the Sleeper Showdown. Who was the master of March? which appears to be records from the games that we picked, sorted by conference tournaments and NCAA tournaments. And then nice little crown for Brian Ralph, who won the conference tournament, and a crown for Dion, who won the NCAA tournament. He also gave us the tier maker that we saw him make in the first audition. And then along with these two submissions, he also gave us a PDF about process automation, which he says he used to make the Sleepers Showdown graphic. So I believe it was like an AI automation tool that, I don't know, maybe I don't even have the proper understanding of it, but it was something that I believe he designed to basically give him automated numbers and results that he could then put into graphic form. So two things very clear for me. I like his eye for design because I like how this looks, and I like how smart he is. He's clearly working hard and has some very high intelligence here at this point in the competition. What's your reaction to Venet's submission?
Yeah, I really like this graphic. Even like small things. Obviously, like I would say you're the guy for eye for design as far as sleepers. Obviously, you're the eye for a lot of things, but like even the small little things on this one, as far as like each of our heads has like a color around it, and it's the corresponding color to our name that goes at the bottom, separated by conference tournaments. I like the idea of the graphic, the Master of March type situation. I like the actual look of it. I will say this though, crazy disrespecting me by misspelling my last name.
Mm.
Two L's and two T's, folks. I need that, but also I think Venet might be a psycho. He might have did this on purpose. He might have did it on purpose. I kind of got an eye for that. I'm wondering if that's a thing, but I'm a big fan of this graphic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love this graphic. I don't have much to nitpick. I think it looks fantastic. Back to those buckets I talked about at the top, you could tell me that Venet is a graphic designer, and I would believe you based on this graphic. With that said, spelling your name wrong is unacceptable. Like spelling errors in general drive me nuts, and that's something we work through with everybody in our team at points. But it's like my number one pet peeve. If you're going to run a social account or something, you cannot spell things wrong, let alone the name of one of the two co-founders of the company. So that's a
Crazy.
it's like if this was a 10 out of 10 submission, it instantly becomes an 8 out of 10 just because he spelled Elliott wrong. I also don't like how good Riley looks in his headshot. That has nothing to do with Venet, but that just bothers me, pisses me off a little bit. Um, the only nitpick that I have for this graphic, I genuinely think it looks awesome. Would someone random that sees this on the internet know what this is talking about?
No,
Like
I don't think so.
even for me, it took me a second to be like, was this the game preview predictions we did, or was this, like it looks fantastic, but does it actually tell a clear story of what we're trying to do? I don't know.
Yeah, but to his point, would it have to like people who look at and follow sleepers would put two and two together, right?
Probably, probably so.
So,
That's fair.
but you are right. You are right.
Yeah. But again, I think this is very high on the creativity scale. I think this looks phenomenal. So I'm overall very impressed with Venet right now. And I like he gave us the tier maker too. He keeps doing more than is asked. Which is that a good thing? I think that's a good thing for this competition, right?
I think it is a good thing, but I do have an underlying theory because Vinay's a Purdue guy, right?
He's a Purdue guy. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's trying to take us down from within. And he's smart enough to do so, which scares me. But I really like this.
Yeah. All right. Well, Venet, you impressed me. This looks great. Great job. I'll give you 2 thumbs up on the graphic, even though you spelled Carter's name wrong and we nitpicked a few other things. Let's get to contestant number 3. Submission number 3 comes from Zack Kyer, who made a graphic entitled Blind Ranking Big Ten Legends. And it has you and I's faces on this, very excited faces. It looks like you are superimposed over Braden Smith. I am superimposed over Jackson Kohler. And then we have a silhouette of an unnamed blind ranking type basketball player behind us. Cart, your thoughts on Zack Kyfer's submission?
So it's a little bit like, I don't know, for this one, this looks like something I would kind of cook up in my little background. Like when you ask me and text me to tell you to put your face on somebody's body, this is what it kind of comes out looking like I do it on Snapchat and things like that. But I will say it made me chuckle seeing this. But do I also have a blindfold on with Sleeper's logos on it?
Yeah, it looks like he made a shape blindfold with multiple Sleepers logos on it. Yeah.
Okay, I need that blindfold to actually be in real life. I'd sleep that as a sleep mask. But I I don't know. This is, if I had to rank this out of 10, this is like a 6 for me.
Okay. I said I'd be brutally. I think that's generous, Cart. I think that's generous. I don't think this is something, if you or I were being
Mhm.
honest, we would put out from our accounts. Now, it might be something we send internally, like to the group chat, and we laugh about it. It gets maybe five ha-has out of six in the group chat. So I think like
Mhm.
if I'm giving a positive note on this, this was creative. He gave us a unique approach to this. He like obviously found our headshots and was able to, there was real work that went into this clearly. Otherwise, you don't get such a creative result. Um, Questions from me. Was this the right thing to choose? Like, I don't know why we would want a graphic for blind ranking Big Ten legends in the first place. This doesn't like distribute any information for us. So to me, that kind of demonstrates he doesn't have a good understanding of what would even be graphicable for us. And then number two, point blank, this just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. Like the silhouette even that's used in the background is like pretty grainy. If you zoom in, like it's not even like a I don't know. Like you can find very nice silhouettes that look good if you're going for that. The Photoshop looks funny enough that we could pass it off as like a joke, but we want graphic work that isn't a joke, right? We want serious graphic work, and nothing about this graphic demonstrates that Zack would be comfortable doing that going forward. So that's where I'm at. Anything to add from you?
Does this have anything to do with your body being on Jackson Kohler's, or
It's
your
a
head being on
horrible
Jackson Kohler's
angle for
body?
me, man. It's a horrible angle for me, and I'm over Jackson Kohler, so I'm probably being a little harsh to Final Four participant Zack Kyer. Never forget that. All right, thank you, Zack. We appreciate the submission. Let's move on to contestant number 4. Our fourth submission came from Aiden Lee, aka Booby, and we've got a Michael Brown versus AJ DeBonsa graphic here. I'll throw it straight to you. Your thoughts on Booby's graphic here?
So the one thing I did like, I think Booby leaned into what he talked about in his first video. Like he said that he would be good with jersey swap things. This is, I think, a very nice jersey swap, a very nice edit, like kind of graphic, right? Like I think
But
it's kind of
To be clear, this is not a jersey swap.
okay, but there's not actual pictures of these. No, but there's not actual pictures of these guys in their present. Like I think he just swapped in some jerseys here. These aren't actual pictures of them in these jerseys.
Okay, yeah, this is he put the design work into a
Yeah,
jersey they haven't worn yet. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So maybe not a jersey swap, but like a jersey placing, I guess. So basically, what it is. It's a little bit promotional, I guess, in its actual work. I guess looking at these graphics, I am kind of looking more for things that we would put on our socials that would be like, evident of our work, lists, rankings, and things like that. I think this does show some graphic design ability. I just wanted to have more sleeper forward centric things with it.
I think Bowie's in an interesting spot. I think he's the best designer in the competition right now. This is the best looking graphic anyone submitted, not to spoil the rest of
Mhm.
these. It looks very good. It looks like a designer made this. We know he has an eye for that stuff. So he may be the biggest winner of the fact that D-Terp bowed out of this competition. I'm talking about D-Terp like a sad ex who lost my boyfriend here, but he would have crushed this competition. And I think Booby may end up the winner of the graphic design challenge at this point based on how good this looks. To your point, I'm not sure I'm all the way in on like would we even want this strategically posted? Like this basically is just a promotional graphic of one of our segments. It's not like information that we're hoping for retweets on, really. I don't even know what we would caption this on, but it looks good. Like if this was the thumbnail for our video, I think we would both be like, this is awesome. So maybe there's even
Mhm.
some work we could do with Booby to help us make better thumbnail templates that would make our YouTube videos pop a little more. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting spot because I think this is a great submission, but I have questions on like, is Booby fully strategically aligned with us on what his role would actually do. Like, does he get it or not? I feel like that's still a little bit of a question for me with Booby. Do you agree with me on that, or am I misreading this?
No, I think it's fair to say, because like this is, we're not trying to promote, we're trying to have like to your point, this is more thumbnaily than it is like run our socials, which I think is a major portion of it. But the actual graphic itself is dope. Like even the little like sign that's kind of like movie theater, like Las Vegas esque Showtime. It's a very just aesthetically pleasing picture graphic. I just wish it was more sleeper centric.
Yeah, it's completely fire. I gotta be nitpicky though, since I said I would be for everybody, basically. Attention to detail stuff. Attention to detail stuff. It appears that he put a little filter over the right side of this. You can see right here, he didn't drag it all the way to the side. So like that's it. It looks great, but like that's a sloppy error. That's a very young type error from a guy who has a great eye for this stuff. So, yeah, I don't. It's weird for me with Booby. It's like at risk of I don't know being overly critical, I feel like he's kind of giving me Xavier Booker vibes right now, where like I want it to fit and work. He's clearly talented, but like I gotta see it fully all the way there. He's the best designer in the competition, and he made like a sloppy mistake. Also, hanging over this is the fact that he couldn't find our email and had to text us personally, like, "Where's your email?"
Yeah, that's part of it. That's crazy.
Like
That's
I
crazy.
don't get the sense that
But it's
Booty
good.
is necessarily like a problem solver on his own. I think if he was our intern, we would get a lot of texts and questions from Booby on things.
And by a lot you would. So I
But
got
his
no answers.
but his name's Booby and he has a great eye for design. Like I don't know what to do with it, man. Do I play Book at the 5 or the 4? Do we start him or do we cut him? I don't know what to do with Booby. He's tough.
You're Izzo, so figure it out.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next participant. Our fifth submission comes from our current socials guy, Jay Hart, who is on vacation in Wyoming. Jay Hart sent us this graphic on the right, Jay Hart's preseason top 25, which was a newly original created graphic. He also sent us his sleeper superlative best pick and roll playmaker graphic of Braden Smith, something he has posted to our social accounts already and was not a new original creation. So two submissions from Jay Hart here. Cart, your thoughts?
You know what? Since we are going to be, since you want to be brutally honest, I would like to be brutally honest in this one. Sending something that we've already seen, I don't like that move, even though I did love the sleeper superlatives graphic that he made. It was one of the better things that Jay Hart's made. But resending something didn't necessarily do it for me. But also looking at the next graphic, I guess is kind of what I want to break down here. I'm gonna get nitpicky again. It's labeled as Jay Hart's preseason top 25 for a sleepers exercise, so that was an interesting portion of it. I also think you're gonna bring this up, but something about the logos and how they're cut off and how they're listed, I don't necessarily feel the greatest about. Also, the placement of like Purdue's taking up the whole left side is the number one, and then the other teams are listed on the right. It just looks a little bit interesting to me, but the concept of taking like a preseason list of ours and putting it into a graphic, I do like that. I just think it could have been executed a little better.
So I'll actually disagree with you. I don't mind most of the visual elements of his preseason top 25. All of my issues with this submission come from like the strategic tactical side, which I'll speak to in a second. But I think this is very good looking. It's one of the best graphics. If he put out graphics like this on behalf of segments we did daily, I would feel good about it. I think it's good enough to go on our social accounts. This is one of the best graphics I've seen Jay Hart make, I think. It's still not perfect. There's still some things where like you can tell he's not a graphic designer. He's just like working off of templates kind of. But this is an original template I think he made himself. I don't think the logos look all that bad. If I was nitpicking, I think the text is not centered perfectly in each one, which is like one of those little things I just think Jay Hart doesn't notice naturally. And that's kind of problematic when you're going to work a social account role. But all in all, it looks good enough to post. The superlative graphic that he already made, sending that in is not a good move at all. It's just not. And not just because he already made it. He clearly is like proud of what he made, and we posted it. We thought they looked good. We told him good feedback on it. But I'm telling you, Car, we posted these. He posted these, and he asked people in our Discord to share it. And some of the feedback that he got from our Discord members were like, "Jay Hart, this doesn't look good. Like the text, you can't read the text of the players' names. Fix it, change it." And like I remember Jay Hart responding to that feedback, and then he didn't even fix it for the submission. So like I think the graphic looks fine. I don't love the fonts. Fonts have been a big issue for us with JR trying to do design work for us in the few months he's worked for us here. But I think this was a strange submission from a guy who is working for us, who like wants to win this hashtag prove it week. It comes across a little lazy to send us something he already made with no changes that already received negative feedback. So I don't know what we do with it. I hope he enjoys Wyoming. I love Jay Hart. But again, if we were just judging, if he didn't send the superlative, if we were just judging this new one on the right, and say hypothetically it was you and I instead of Jay Hart's preseason top 25, then I think we have no issues with this, right? Because it looks good.
Yeah. So maybe we got to look at it that way then.
But back to your point, why is he making a graphic of his own thoughts? Like, I feel like Jay Hart wants to be a character in the Sleepers universe more than he wants to do the things we're asking him to do right now. And that's a real bit of like honest analysis in real time here. But I think it's part of why we're looking for an actual behind the camera intern, because like we don't want another character. We think we have enough characters. And over time, if you become good enough at what you do, you will be a character organically. So I don't know. It's like he chose to give us his own top 25 and a graphic he already made. I would have loved our social guy to hit us with different things than that for this.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because he knows the way we tick. At least
Yeah.
I think.
We're both coming across as like Simon Cowell right now, aren't we?
Just a wee bit.
Just a tiny little bit. All right. Thank you, Jay Hart. Enjoy Wyoming. Let's get to our next submission. Cart's still in the dark right now. Contestant number 6, the one, the only Jay Money, who sent us this graphic of AJ DeBonsa with the quote, "I want to win the national championship." This was a segment that we did on AJ's own quote about his big visions for his year at BYU. Straight to you, Cart. Your thoughts on the AJ DeBonsa graphic from Jay Money?
I think this is a graphic for someone that really doesn't have, I guess, the graphic design background, which is not something required. But you look at some of the things. I mean, even you talk about like little tiny things, like with the basketballs, AJ DeBanks at the top. Part of it goes on to the Y on BYU. Also, the BYU that's on both sides and the top throws me off a little bit. I just think like kind of, I guess, to be frank with this one, it's just not that great of a graphic. I guess it looks a little bit to me.
Yeah, I feel like there are some things here that I approve of. Like I don't see any major mistakes. I don't see any spelling errors, any slop type things. It's more just like, do we like the design or not? For me, not a huge fan of the design. But again, I don't think Jay Money's a graphic designer, and she's working with what she's got here. She chose high quality images of AJ. That's good. I already nitpicked that on a couple other ones. To me, like probably only need one of the national championship trophies, not two. I like the blue backdrop, I will say. Like there's elements of this design that I like and would be like, keep that. I would almost just send feedback on like, strike this. You only need one BYU. You only need one trophy. But I don't know. I get what she was going for. And as far as like the non-designers that entered submissions for this round, I feel like she did better than some. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I never think it's fair to say. I also like the little slight subtle J Money at the bottom left. I got to show respect to that.
Yeah, I would put J Money in the category of, if we gave her a template to work with, she could make good graphics based on the submission. But again, this is more so for us. Do we want to get someone that we need to give a template to, or do we want to give someone that we can just tell to work from scratch,
Right. Probably work from scratch if we had our way. But there are moments where we do get templates and expect it to be executed. And maybe J Money could do that.
And also at this rate, it's possible that none of our contestants have what we're looking for. So,
Yeah, possible, very possible.
yeah. All right. Let's move on to contestant number 7. Contestant number 7 is Luca Maisie. Cart, your thoughts from Luca.
All right. So I know we brought this up earlier, but I think I'm starting to realize this in real time. We're big font people, and font is very important to graphics. And I think the choice of font in this one is a little bit intriguing to me. And also the backdrop with just kind of like scattered, like trapezoids of orange things, kind of whatever's going on. I think it runs a little bit kind of over the font as well as it just being kind of like interesting choice, I guess, with that. Um, I'm trying to think of some other things. Actually, let me throw it to you first before I give my final ones on this.
Yeah, so when Luca sent us this graphic, I'm going to read his exact email. He said, "Hey, Sleepers Media Team, I never really created a graphic before. I have focused more on journalism and talk shows, but here is my best shot." That's Luca saying, "Hey, guys, I have no idea how to do graphics. I'm not a graphic guy, but I tried." That's what this is. That's the whole story here. I don't like the submission, and I think Luca knows we weren't going to like the submission. I think he's basically just like, yeah, I don't have the tools for this. Nothing wrong with that, just is what it is. But yeah, I don't want to kill the kid for it because I just don't think this is in his bag. But you're right, the fonts are something that just shouldn't be used. You got to do something that's easier to read. Like if we're giving Luca feedback in case he's ever put in this position again, just like left align the text, pick a font that's easier to read. Your goal here is to have people see rankings, like top to bottom rankings. So putting players' headshots kind of scattered around the graphic doesn't help you follow the rankings at all. It's just distracting to what you're doing. Speaking of distracting, the background with the orange pieces everywhere, just a little distracting, even if it fits the theme. So again, I appreciate the effort that went into this because like clearly he had to find the headshots of these guys. He had to space them correctly. He clearly put effort into trying to make this work. It's just not something we would be comfortable putting out, meeting the visual expectations that we have for the brand. And I think Luca knew that coming in.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. But yeah, I feel like there's nothing else I could really add to it.
Yep. All right, let's move on to contestant number 8. Contestant number 8 is Michael. He submitted this preseason All-American draft graphic. And then he also submitted a little video, which I'll play here briefly, and then we can evaluate cards. It's a 6-second little video attachment type thing. This is what we got from Michael. It's almost like a little intro for like the Guess That Player series that we've been doing on socials. Again, not the task that we asked for, but a nice little flex from Michael of additional work being done. Your thoughts on Michael's submission here?
So are you asking about just a little 6-second video or the whole submission as a whole?
Well, I feel like we need to evaluate the graphic, but we're ultimately evaluating the whole submission. So he gave us the graphic, then he gave us the Guess That Player, which is not something that we asked for.
Right. So personally, I really like that Guess the Player thing. The only thing I would say, like formatting wise, like the background for what it is compared to like our socials at the top are a little bit odd to me. But the actual like main thing on this graphic, like how it came up, put some music by, like I could see the vision with that, which I do like. Over to like the actual photo though. I so I don't know. For me, like looking at it as like a thumbnail, I think it's actually a good thumbnail. Like I kind of see. I think we have done things like this before. Maybe the font placement is a little bit interesting. It seems like the letters get a little bit cut off. Like it looks like Kalkbrenner's head cuts off the All American a little bit, and the preseason, like the end of it, is kind of a little bit close to the top of the graphic. But like if I don't know, I'm not the creative guy of this one, but like I feel like we have made a thumbnail that looks somewhat like this before.
Yeah, I think that's another way to put it. He's not the only submission that falls in this category, but like this is more tactically, like strategically a thumbnail, right? This is not like the results of the draft. If we were going to make a graphic for social that is a preseason All-American draft, we would want it to show the draft picks. And instead it's just kind of all the players. But I will say, like, it's not the easiest thing to do to just like layer a bunch of players into a graphic and have it look okay. And Michael did that. So like the
Mhm.
actual effort that it takes to put 7 players on half a page, he did it well. He spaced them out nicely. I hate that font if I'm being nitpicky, and I super hate that the Sleepers logo is just in a white square at the top. But again, those are just graphic design nitpicks, and I'm a nitpicky graphic design eye. Cart, I love the Guess That Player intro.
So do I.
I love that. I think that's an incredible visual. I think that took serious work to make. I think it's something that would make every single video that we've been putting together with Jay Hart look better if we had that type of intro on it. And I think it actually demonstrates that Michael understands what we need, but I'm having a hard time evaluating it because it's not what we asked for, right? Like, this would have made more sense if he attached that in next round where we asked for like a video submission, and instead he just kind of sent it in with his graphic, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I give him the edge. I like it because I like it. I think it's relevant with what we're doing too. Like obviously, like we've been doing a lot of those on the channel, and I do think it looks good.
And it adds and reaffirms my gut feel that Michael's a little bit of a mystery wild card, which I mean, this is just me talking, but like I like that. You know, like I like that. There's character potential here. Like we ask you for a graphic, you give us a graphic, and then like a video you spent more time on than the graphic, you know?
Yeah, it's a curveball I did not necessarily see coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Michael. We have one more submission to evaluate. Our final contestant here is Tristan Winkleman, and I got to be honest, Cart, as a host showrunner of this competition, I did Tristan dirty because I forgot to email Tristan the details of the entire competition at the same time I emailed the other 10 contestants. I just totally missed it. I thought I had emailed him the rules. I didn't. So Tristan actually got the directions to make this graphic on Sunday, the day that the graphic was due. He replied within 20 minutes of the original email and said, "No worries. I got you. Here you go." And had this spit out immediately. So without even intending to learn this, we learned that, you know, he has a quick turnaround time. He's responsive. And ultimately, the graphic he has submitted is this top 10 player ratings if the game dropped today graphic from a segment that we did last week. Your thoughts on Tristan's submission?
So honestly, given the turnaround time that you just brought up, I mean, there's some nitpicky things about this, but I think visually the actual rankings portion of it, I really like the half black, half orange, like with the rating where you can clearly see the players' names. The font is good. It gets a little dicey when you get to like I think 2 players in a box. Like you look at number 7 where everyone's tied at 91. Those names are a little small, which is a little bit off to me. And also like the fact that you have some players that are the same ratings and you kind of go 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 threw me off a little bit. But like I think there's visually some things that are pretty good about this with the turnaround, like the Sleepers logo on there the way it is. Obviously, and I'm not sure if this is just me. The Braden pick is pixelated, right?
The Braden pick is a little grainy. It is. It's
Okay.
not the highest quality pick, but yeah, that's probably the nitpick here.
Yeah, but yeah, I like this graphic though. I must say.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I think it's good. I think this is a great submission from Tristan, and I would have thought that if it wasn't like a really responsive, quick turnaround, but that only adds to the lore of this being a really good submission. I thought he picked great fonts. I think this is clean. I think there's no wasted space. I don't think it's cluttered. I think you very clearly understand, you know, what's being listed. It's easy to understand what's being construed. The only possible nitpick I have is that he should have used a higher resolution picture of Braden, but that's really easy feedback, and we could help him with that. I think his eye for design is really good. This is a nice submission from Tristan. I have no notes. I think this is the one submission I have no notes on, Cart.
Whoa, am I sniffing a graphic favorite from you on this one?
You know, visually, I still think Venet's might have been my favorite, but
Okay.
I would put this right in the same category with Venet. Venet and Tristan gave us 2 graphics that, minus a very minor, like, hey, choose a different picture of Braden, I would be more than comfortable to put this out. In fact, I would be proud of putting this out on Sleepers channels.
Yeah, the last thing I would nitpick here, if I was Tristan, I would have took a pic from Braden's IG getting a fit off in his recent dump and throwing a non-basketball pick in there.
But Kart, even tactically, like this was a great choice. Like doing the player ratings, this is such a good segment to put in graphic form. You know?
Yeah, that part of it we brought up with the other graphics was like knowing what is a graphic worthy thing. This is a key indicator that he realizes what can be made out of a graphic out of the stuff that we do.
And now I'm thinking back to his submission. Remember, he had that Sleepers Got Talent logo up top, and it looked really good. The TikTok he made.
Yeah,
I think Tristan's a sleeper in this competition, Kart. I think
yeah,
quality looking things that he's put in front of us, arguably he's given us the best of anyone in the competition thus far.
yeah. Good work, good work rate as well.
Yeah, for sure. Good work, Tristan. All right, there you have it. There's all our submissions. Kart and I are now going to break to deliberate, and then we will reconvene in just a moment live on the show to unveil who will be advancing to the next phase of the competition and who will be cut at this point. All right, folks, the results are in. We are ready to reveal who is advancing and who has been eliminated from Sleepers Got Talent. We have these pictures in front of all of us, and we have decided, after talking to Kart, of our 9 remaining contestants, 7 will be advancing and 2 will be cut at this point in time. Dim the lights, and let's reveal first who is advancing into the next round of Sleepers Got Talent. Our first contestant that is advancing, Venet. Venet, great work, Hart. Please speak on why Venet is advancing.
Yeah, I just think that Venet's graphic, I think, was very well done, very well thought out. I love the way he kind of laid it out. I also love the extras that he included with it. And you know what? You got to pair it with his video submission as well. I think that's two very strong weeks from Venet in this competition. That also had me intrigued to see what else he can do with the rest of the prompts.
He's put a lot of thought into it. He's put a lot of extra process into demonstrating that he's smart. His eye for design is good. Venet is well-rounded, and Venet could win this competition. I'm excited to see more, even a little more personality from Venet as we advance through the competition. All right, our second person, contestant, advancing is Tristan Winkleman. Tristan Winkleman has advanced. Kart, your thoughts?
I think you already pointed out first. Love the Sleepers Got Talent, and like his graphic and the combination of knowing what could be made into a graphic for us and the execution of it by him, I thought was just very, very, very well done. And also the additional guest the player Big Ten thing that he put out as well, I think really added to it. Another 2 very strong start for Tristan as well in this competition.
Tristan was a big riser this week. I think he's just done a great job visually with everything in the competition. The skill challenges have favored him very well relative to some of our other participants. All right, we have 7 left. We're still going to advance 5 more members of the competition. Next through to the next challenge is Michael Anderson. Michael Anderson has advanced. Kart, please speak on Michael Anderson.
Yeah, so Michael was a one last week that I really liked the execution of his video, as you can see from the skill shot there. And you know what? I thought his design was good. I like the graphic. I will say this: I do put some high hopes on people, and though maybe Michael doesn't have the necessarily like, oh, I'm a graphic designer guy. I did want a little bit more from him, so maybe throwing a little personal challenge his way that I expect more from him. But I think very worthy of going through.
I think he won us over with the added video graphic because, again, that was an original thought from him. We didn't ask for that. He just put in some extra effort to give us something original. And out of everything that was submitted, even though it wasn't what we asked for, it was something tangible that could be used right away. And I don't think we got that from a lot of other contestants in the competition. So, Michael, I'm with Kart. We got to see a better eye for design because I didn't love that graphic. But I love the creativity. We asked for creativity at the top of the show. You've delivered the creativity. Michael has advanced. All right, we have 4 more who will be advancing. 2 cuts remaining from our final 6 here. Next through to the next round is Booby Kart. Aiden Lee I said he was the best designer in the competition after D-Turk bowed out. I think that played true. We could post that Debanza graphic today, and ultimately that's why he's advancing here.
Yeah, look, I think he can certainly do this. And as far as graphic design, I think his design clearly showed what he can do. But it's about whether we unlock Booby. I think that's what, and it might be on us. It might be on him as well. I don't to do this to the Xavier Booker comp. I don't want Moneyball Booby. I want part of the team Booby. I want hang banners with sleepers Booby. And right now, I think we're just getting the classic, 50-point Moneyball performance.
Yeah, I agree. For what it's worth, I agree. All right, Booby, congratulations. You've made it through. Next through into the competition, J Money, Jordan Cohen has advanced. Card, I don't think this was the strongest week from J Money, but I also don't think she was anywhere close to the weakest submissions that we received. I think we've gotten two well-rounded submissions from J Money, but I will say as we get closer to the end of this competition, she has to win a week. Like I think that's where we're at. She's clearly been above the bottom level of contestants, but I need to see something that J Money shines in and does better than everyone else, and I'm not sure what that is at this point.
Right. Eventually, if you want to win this, and I think everyone in this wants to win this competition, you have to separate yourself. And I think Jay Money has been okay and not being at finding herself at the bottom, which is something that she should be proud of. But you are going to have to separate yourself eventually in this competition, and she will need to do so, or I think other people are going to kind of advance before her.
J Money through the next round. We've got four left. Two of these faces in front of you will be cut. Two of these faces in front of you will advance. The first name that will advance to the next round of our competition is Eli. Eli Grasham has made it through. I called him the fan favorite. He was the first graphic we received this week. Card, after going through all of the graphics this week, personally, I would put Eli in the middle to the bottom half of the graphics we received. And ultimately, that's why he had to wait to hear his name called a little bit, but still high on his potential overall. Any words for Eli as he advances?
Very strong first week. I don't know if Eli. Obviously, he has been documenting this journey, and I do actually really like the creativity and the documenting of this journey, kind of with his own YouTube channel. But maybe Eli heard the noise a little bit. I think Eli might have heard the noise a little bit. Personal, like he was maybe looked at as a favorite between some people, and I just thought the graphic was kind of underwhelming. Like I appreciate him showing the process. I think he understands graphic design clearly. But someone that understands graphic design, I think I expected a bit more.
Here's what I would say.
So,
Here's what I would say with Eli right now, Cart. More than anyone else in the competition, and this is like favorite type feedback, more than anyone else in the competition, I have no doubt that if we worked with him, he would make good things for us. He would work hard. He would help Sleepers, the organization. Ultimately, that's what we should be after. So if I want someone with no doubts that's going to create good stuff and work hard and be hungry, Eli might be our guy. But at the same time, I do think based on what that graphic looked like and just some of like how he's approaching this journey right now, I think there would be a lot of daily interaction with Eli, which is not a bad thing, but he's got this gravitas to him, this personality, which might be the reason he wins the show. But it also could be something that like, hey, we just want someone who makes good graphics. And this week, in my opinion, he didn't make the best graphic. He did a lot of extra things. And ultimately, we might have to decide, do we want the extra stuff if we don't feel that the graphics are that great? I don't know. Maybe that's some feedback for Eli. All in all, you can't knock his work ethic. You can't knock the creativity. But he had to wait to hear his name called a little bit, Eli. We'll see where this takes you into the next round of the competition. 3 names remain. As you can see, we've got Luca Maisie, we've got Jay Hart, we've got Zack Kyer in front of us. 2 of these names will be cut. 1 will advance. The name that is still in the competition, still competing, is Jay Hart. Jay Hart is not bowing out of the competition at this point. Jay Hart has made it. Any words for our current social guy who will not hear this, who is in Wyoming, Jay Hart?
I'd like to challenge Jay Hart. I'd like to challenge Jay Hart because I'll say this. I think if Jay Hart was one of the newer contestants, I think the decision might have been a little bit closer than one might want to say with him going through. I think I'll say that the submission of the graphic that was already done that had feedback to it and was unchanged, off-putting. And I know you liked his other graphic, but I have questions about it as a whole. But I think I believe in Jay Hart, and I think he's more than worthy to advance.
I also believe in Jay Hart. That's why we've given him opportunities and we're giving him another opportunity. We're still going here. But yeah, I think almost every step of the way we've had questions tactically with what is Jay Hart doing. The audition tape, it was like that's not the approach we would have taken. The graphic take, that's not the approach we would have taken. At a certain point, if every time our social guy is taking a different approach than we would have taken, we got to look ourselves in the mirror, right? I think that's sort of where I'm at with this. But again, I thought his graphic stood alone. The new one he made stood alone in this competition as a top half graphic that was submitted. That's why we have to keep pushing him through. But I'm waiting for that week where just everything clicks, where Jay Hurt finds the approach that is the way the sleepers would do things. And if he can find that in this competition, he may still win this competition. But it's been a clunky first 2 weeks for our socials guy, Jay Hart. With that said, we now say goodbye to Luca Maisie and to Zack Kyer. Gentlemen, jokes aside, we are trying to be entertaining. We're trying to have fun with this competition, and I think we have along the way. But jokes aside, it really does mean a lot to us that we had people like Zack and Luca be interested in contributing to Sleepers Media, spend serious time and effort sending audition tapes and putting work on paper, letting the world see your work and put a name to a face and learn who you are. So to both Luca and Zack, thank you on a serious note for being interested in all of this and ultimately have just decided to go in different directions with the competition. Any words for Luca and Zack as we bid goodbye to them, Kart?
No, I truly appreciate. I think I go off your sentiment with this. Like, I appreciate them submitting for this competition. I appreciate the effort. It just came down to looking at other candidates and what they have done and what they've done so far. And you know, part of this is one of the things we suck at is having to do kind of cut people or get people in these positions. So I appreciate it. I think there's positive things that both of you guys did, but at the end of the day, part of this competition is that people need to get cut and go home.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think Luca nailed it. He's like, I'm not a designer. I've never done this. That would be a problem. You got to design stuff every day if you're going to work with us on an internship basis. So just not the best fit, but he's got a bright future writing with all the stuff he's been working on. And then with Zack, I just think I didn't follow the idea of why we would want a blind ranking graphic. I do think it looked good enough to like be shared in certain places, but just one of those. I didn't follow the vision for what Zack was going for. Zack, ultimately, I was afraid to bring in someone who has a Final Four resume into our organization. I don't know if Sleepers is ready for that. So you can go to bed with your Final Four ring for NC State and be happy, my friend. Thank you to both of these gentlemen for their work. Carl, we've got 7 remaining contestants. Their next challenge is going to be to make a 60-second or less video that could be shared to TikTok or Reels. It can be anything they want. They can use any footage from previous Sleepers Media videos. In fact, we've even seen some TikTok accounts going viral, taking our audio and making great looking videos with it. So hopefully we can enter this game. I'm excited to see what our contestants come up with. Do you have any specific desires or wishes that you want to see from our contestants in the next round?
If I see someone make a video for like MySpace or something, just completely doing away with what we're asking for, I'm going to lose it and I'm going to cut you immediately.
Yeah, I echo what Kart just said. All right, folks. Thank you for watching. We'll be back to a normal episode of the Sleepers Podcast tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.